So, YouTube, hi everybody. I'm going to show you the panels on the roof, and then most important, the changes that I made to the system, which is the inverter, a 8K inverter from a 3K inverter. So, these are all monocrystalline panels, and 250 watt, 250 watt panels. Yeah, those four, bought those four at first, and when I went back, the place didn't have any more of those at the time, so I had to purchase the remaining 12 separately. So it's a total of 16 250 watt panels, monocrystalline. So that's the setup I have at the roof. And some persons probably like, why you space them? I space them because we're in the tropics and I didn't want any damages of heat, excessive heat, as this is in Jamaica 876. So there you go. So we are back now inside, and this is the box that the inverter came in. Yeah, let's give you a close up. So that's the inverter details right there, and a very huge box. And of course, that's the batteries right there. So this is my battery bank. So I had to, the old system that I had was 24 volts, now it's converted to 48 volts. So same batteries, just different setup to a 48 volt. That's it. That's how it looks. You're probably seeing this here. This is that right here is an old back charger, which we had two, and no longer need the two or the inverter 3000K inverter that I had, because we're now using this. So over that side of the wall, fixing it back because I had to drill some holes for the old inverter. Now this is a new inverter and all that. So that's how it looks. Still have the down there open because I'm going to be putting some breakers there, two breakers that I have. So I'll be doing that shortly. Yes, so give you a close up. Yes, carry 3 fan on the outside. 1, 2, 3. Disconnect switch from DC, and the off button on the front. Down this portion is where all those wires are. Let me give you a look from down there so you can see where you see this wireless dongle. So that's for the wireless. You can use your phone to then look what is going on wirelessly. And I show you those right there. Right. So going up now. Yes. So it's a big inverter, as I say. Very big. You know. This is just my little room around this side, so nobody really watch TV around here except myself. So that's how big it is. Look on it, look on the size of the TV to the size of it, and you get a more true picture of how big it is. That's it right there. So let's see the menu what we're producing today. That's what we're producing, and we take note. So this is a solar, and 2000, let's bring up the menu, 2592 watts the panels are bringing in at the time. It's a 4 kilowatt system on the roof, 4 kilowatt system, but it's producing 2.594 now. And the battery is charged. Yes, it says battery is charged. Still have a little more to pack in. I realize the temperature is 28. That's why the fans chipped in. Alright, that's the only time I realize the fan chips in, when the temperature is at a certain point, of course. And let's see what power is. Okay. Fan is out, so it's much quiet, no noise now, no noise at all. As you see, it says DC on, AC on, normal. So we're connected to the grid. It's grid interactive. Looking on this, you see it's grid interactive, connected up there. It says DC, AC, and normal. Down here, it's panels are charging the battery at the time, as well as running the house at the time, and as well as it's in a negative form. Negative meanings that we're putting some today to use back to the utility company to use back later on when the sun goes down. So I want to say sell, you call it supplement. So this is supplementing the grid to use back later on. Look in the direction to which the arrows are and to which the round zeros are going to. So it's from the panel to the batteries to the house to supplement the grid to use back later on. So let me jump in the menu. So this little button right up here, which my thumb is covering, press on it, the menu comes up. I'll just go into basic first. Basic, you'll see, that's what you'll see for basic. This is my setup, I'm not going to change it. Back out basic, and let's go to battery. Better look. So that's a setup that I have. Not using percentage. Percentage can throw you off if you when you use a percentage, you then have to look and you realize that it's a bit off. So I would say it needs some work on, but you can edit it based on your knowledge to get it work for you based on the percentage that you set. So you set them higher, if you understand what I mean, to compensate for the loss that you're seeing when you use percentage. I'm not using lithium. I'm using the normal batteries as you saw before. So the battery capacity, how do I came by the battery capacity is how much one battery amp hour one battery has and the amount. So what you do, you multiply the amp hour that one battery carries by the amount of batteries you have, and mine is 428, so I use 428 for that. I hope you understand. All right, so max charge, I leave it at 100. This one can go to 185. I'll leave it at 100 because I don't want the voltage to burn out my batteries. So I want my batteries to last for the longest period based on what the manufacturer setting says. So I leave it at 100 and the discharge 100, of course. There's an up and down button right there. So down. Here is another option for generator and for grid. I'm not using any at the moment. Normally with my whole system that was 3 kilowatt, I was not using the grid or anything. It was a off-grid system, off-grid system totally. So with this one, I can use off-grid, but as I say, I supplement it to the grid to use back what it produced in the daytime, the excess in that word. So if I was to use the generator, this is saying it would start at 48 volts. If I was to use the grid, it would tell in the system to use the grid when the batteries reach 48. Likewise for the generator. That's all it's saying right there. Another section in that same menu is the carries a float absorption and equalization of days, and this option that presents itself, the equalization hour, That's a very good thought right there. You know, you don't have to go in anything much. It just does it every whatever you set it for. You know. Uh, so mine is set at every 1 hour. So I'm going to change that. That needs to change actually. So let's change this right here and use the arrow key. Alright, so I don't want it to run more than, no, I'll change it 30 seconds. I was gonna put it for 30 seconds. For 30 minutes actually. 30 minutes. So alright, so we'll leave it right there. Let's not make any changes. I remember I won't make any change, so let's not waste any more time. So shutdown voltage is at 47 volts. Low battery is 47, and restart 47.5. So we want it to shut down when the battery voltage drop to 47 volts. We don't want it to go beneath that. For my personal use, low battery is 42. 47.2. That's an alarm where a warning comes in here, a beep, so it tells you that the battery is low, and it restarts at 47.5. Your settings can be different. This is my personal settings. Let's back out from that option. Let's go to system. In the system, that's the option that we have there that I am using. I'll just leave it there for you to see. There are other options could be utilized, which are good. Zero export to load, that one is a good one, depending on what you want or you want your system to do. Zero export to CT, another good one as well. If you're using zero export to CT, then you need to come to this option and tick the time of use inside here. And if you want particular time of use charge, then you can highlight over the grid charge area as well. Or if it's generator using, you highlight inside here. So pretty much I'm not going to go in any option for that. For the grid settings, these are my grid settings. For this to work on the grid, you have to have this kind of setting. So setting, so I go back up now, backwards. So those are the settings for the grid interface. So I'll come back out. There's advanced option, and it continues, the menu continues there. We're not going to change anything in that, we'll leave it just as is. Factory settings, and there is generator. That's the settings. We're not going to be changing anything as well. We're going to leave it as is at factory setting. And device info, sorry, you can always scroll down to get more option or up depending on what it is. So those are the options there, device info, and we back out. So let's come all the way back out, look at it again, see what the system is doing. We're producing from the panels 2560 watts, and it's charging the battery, and it's running the house as well, all the loads in the house, and it's complementing the grid to use back when the sun goes down. Other word, I'll best use this word to supplement, so we can have it to use later on when the night go down, instead of using the batteries for at first. So the batteries always be a standby for after that, or you can disconnect the DC switch and you can go off grid and use the batteries instead, not using the supplement that was used in the daytime, the panels produced in the daytime. So let me tell you a bit about this inverter. So this inverter is the Sun 8K right? That's what is marked on the box of it, the Sun 8K. And it's, in my opinion, it's a good inverter. It's quiet. Only one problem I realize, there's a beeping, little annoying sound that you get once the fan chips in. You'll hear it comes in a little bit more than modest. So it's bearing to the ears. You can hear it, and that's the only thing I don't like about it. The manufacturers fix that for also factory fault of theirs. Their design, that noise that you hear just as the fan kicks in, like a beeping, whistling noise. Not loud, but shouldn't be there, in my opinion. Other than that, it's quiet. It works well for me, and the inverter itself doesn't use it. It has its own charge controller inside of it. Its own charge controller. It has its so you can connect the PV array straight to the charge controller, because it has its own built-in to the inverter. Sorry, you can connect the PV array straight to this inverter, and it has a charge controller inside of it, so you don't have to use batteries with this inverter. So this takes the sun energy, turns it into DC, sends it to the inverter change it back to AC, send it to the house or whatever you want to do with it. So you don't have to use the batteries, as I mentioned, which is good. This option I didn't have with my older system, so this is a much better option. That's why I choose this inverter. A bit pricey on the high end part, but it's a good one for the money. Just other than the little faults that I see. The wireless option for the phone, to log in and check those datas, it need a bit of work. The sync could be much quicker time, instead of a 10 minutes relapse that you have to wait for it to sync, or if you sync it there then and there, it still goes back to a 10 minutes time frame. It can be less. I think you can do much better work with that. Need to be more real time, as in by the second. Don't need to have any delay once you're using the internet and internet is there. But it's a good system. The app itself could do a little bit more work. Not bad app, but a little bit more on the wireless side for the phone login option. This system also, it's an 8K, so it's very, very big, very very heavy, I must tell you. Yeah. So let me see if I can get the top, a view of the top. That's how it is with the mount come down. So it's a Sun 8K inverter. It has its own built-in charge controller. It doesn't have to use batteries. You can tell it not to use batteries and it works just the same. You can tell it to use batteries. You can tell it to use a grid. You can supplement the grid. You can sell to the grid, whatever it is. You can go off grid if you choose to use it as an off grid inverter. So that's it. All the best for the time being, and hope this worked for you, everyone in this land. All the best. Merry Christmas to you.